It's not surprising that the Houston Texans have now become a destination spot for pending free agents. They saw what we did in year one. We were in a position where no one thought we were going to be. 10 wins, a division title, a home playoff win. They believe they can be the finishing pieces to this Houston Texans team. Because right now, ladies and gentlemen, our goal is to get back to the playoffs, get to our first ever AFC championship, our first ever Super Bowl. And there has already been a lot of rumors and buzz surrounding free agency. Look at the number of players that have already been mentioned possibly joining the Houston Texans. I'm going to give you a rundown. It started a couple of weeks ago with A.J. Brown, wide receiver from the Philadelphia Eagles. According to bookies.com, the Houston Texans have the #1 odds of landing the star wide receiver. It didn't stop there. A couple of days later, it was Davante Adams, wide receiver from the Las Vegas Raiders, going on the Up and Adam podcast and talking about how he himself advocated to the Raiders to move up in the draft and select CJ Stroud. Gave CJ a lot of high praise and even called him the most professional rookie he's ever met. Then just this weekend, it started with Jamar Chase. During the Pro Bowl game, the flag football game, CJ Stroud rose to his left, throws a beautiful ball into the corner of the end zone, screeching across, goes Jamar Chase, caught it, 2 feet inbounds, touchdowns, oohs and ahs, a highlight play. Then Jamar Chase tells CJ Stroud, "You know you want to play with me, bro, come on." Now that moment goes absolutely viral, and Jamar Chase was a hated man in Cincinnati that day. Fans were saying, look, he's turning on his college quarterback, Joe Burrow. He would rather have CJ Stroud than Joe Burrow. Hey, I would rather have CJ Stroud than Joe Burrow, but that's another topic for another day. It got so big that Jamar Chase had to take to Twitter and say, I'm not leaving my boy Joe like that. Y'all relax. It's crazy how one moment can turn into a big story. It was Mike Evans at the Houston Rockets last week. And for those of you saying, well, Ruben, he lives in Galveston, which is 30 minutes away from Houston. Of course he would go to his game. When was the last time Mike Evans went to a Houston Rockets game? I mean, the Rockets are in the middle of the rebuild. They're still not even good currently with the losing record. And they lost the night that he was there. It was Hello Kitty night. Mike Evans knows what he was doing. He was letting Houston know that you are one of my options in free agency because I know you are one of the few teams that can make me the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. You give me that, and I'll take you places you haven't seen. Like I mentioned, our first ever AFC championship, our first ever Super Bowl appearance. That is the goal for the Houston Texans going forward. It was Stephon Diggs a couple of days ago at the Pro Bowl. Apparently, he's been talking to former Houston Texans players about the city and the organization. There was another tweet that came out from Ben on the Top that said he was talking to a former retired Texans wide receiver. Now, I think he was talking about the GOAT, Andre Johnson, because what other retired Houston Texans wide receiver word will hold weight to someone like Stephon Diggs if it's not Andre? He still has 4 years left on his deal with the Buffalo Bills. Why is he looking into the Houston Texans? The answer is because he wants to be here, because he knows there is something special brewing in Houston. And you can say the same thing for these 5 guys that I just mentioned. What's crazy is they are all wide receivers. They all want to play with CJ Stroud. Each and every single one of the guys I just mentioned will walk in Houston and be the #1 wide receiver. They are all that special. In reality, the only guy you realistically having a chance of getting is Mike Evans. Why? Because you don't have to trade for him. You just have to offer him the bag in free agency. Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, Davante Adams. You would have to trade for those guys. But it's not just wide receivers we are hearing being mentioned with the Houston Texans. Marcus Spears on ESPN, I think yesterday, spoke about how our off-season goal should be going out there and getting Saquon Barkley from the New York Giants. Everyone, not just here in Houston, everyone knows that there is something special and there is something coming. Guys, the Houston Texans have a prime opportunity to make this a championship roster, take advantage of CJ Stroud being on his rookie contract, do what you didn't do when you had Deshaun Watson at quarterback, spend the money, scared money, don't make money, get yourself some wins this offseason, and let's contend for trophies. For everyone saying, when has Nick Caserio ever went out there and make the big hire? Well, when was the first time Nick Caserio had money like this? Because, yes, he's had the draft picks the past 2 years, but he hasn't had the money. Free agency last year was a hit. Steven Nelson, you brought him back. Dalton Schultz, Devin Singletary, Sheldon Rankins, Desmond King, bringing him back. Denzel Perryman, Robert Woods, Noah Brown. All those guys made an impact for the Houston Texans this year, were the reasons why we got to the postseason, ladies and gentlemen. And that was with little to no money. Now think about what Nick Caserio was going to do with $70, potentially $80 million in the bank. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait for a free agency. I cannot wait for the draft. And I cannot wait for these rumors to continue piling up. Let me know what you think about Houston being a destination spot for free agents. For more Texans content, you know what to do. Follow me for more. Go H-Town. Have a blessed day.